We ready? We'll call the meeting to order. Thank you for coming, everybody. We appreciate the fact that everybody's interested in what we do here in the city of Parker. We'll start with an invocation, and then we'll ask Ann to go ahead and lead the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? Stand for the invocation, please. Heavenly Father, grant us your guidance as we make decisions in this meeting. Illuminate our minds with your wisdom so that our choices may align with your perfect will. In Jesus' name, amen. Ann, would you lead the pledge? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ann. Ingrid, would you mind doing a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Merritt?
Here.
Ms. Powering?
Here.
Mr. Stryker is absent, and Chairman Riga.
Yes, thank you. Very good. Everybody get a chance to review the minutes for both meetings in February? All right. I suppose we can approve them both at once as long as there are no changes. Do I have a motion for approval or any changes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Very good. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Very good. Madam Clerk, can we get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Merritt?
Yes.
Ms. Powering?
Yes.
And Chairman Riga.
Yes, and thank you. Nice summary, quick and to the point. Really appreciate it. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll ask if there are any items that you'd like to bring before planning that are not on the agenda for this evening. If not, we'll get right into the two agenda items then. Do we have a Mr. McConnell here? Mr. McConnell, would you come before us here? Because we do have people that are listening electronically, Mr. McConnell, if you don't mind, would you give everybody sort of a summary of what you're trying to do here?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is James McConnell. I've got a piece of property over on the Cole Drive. I'm seeking to divide that property in half to build two separate single-family houses on it. In the last meeting, I asked that it be continued to this meeting to explore older property plats to see if there was a plat that had already been segregated in the different lot lines.
Yes, sir.
I was not able to find that. The original W.H. Parker plat did not include that particular area. So that was why I'd asked for the continuation. So I'm back to the original request to split the property in just in half as it's outlined on the highlighted survey.
In half, so did you want to make it into four separate? So it's one large parcel right now.
Yeah.
The rules within Parker identify that if you have three or more, you follow the rules.
Exactly.
However, you could do a short plat. I mean, the state of Florida recognizes a short plat. That's not as extensive as a long plat. The short plat, because you're not building a road, you're not naming a road, you're probably not going to have to put in, certain things like certain utilities that may already be on the road. That might help you out a little bit. The one thing I think we had talked about was if you had separated the parcel or segregated so that it was one parcel and then 3/4 of an acre, that would allow you to, you know what I'm saying? So that way you could build that one home there. Let's assume that parcel number one, and then at a later date, then go ahead and separate, parcel two. But it doesn't matter. You could essentially do that.
I didn't think about that.
You're not having to build a road. The big difference
Yeah.
between a short plat and building single family homes is not all that big of a difference. Typically, the approvals get done much sooner with a short plat. If it's probably better if you go to the property appraiser's office now with how it's going to end up anyway. But just recognize that it'll be under the rules of a subdivision at that point. But they're pretty straightforward, and they're not that difficult. I think that's what we were trying to convey
Gotcha.
the first time. In section 5, I think it's 510, is that right, ladies and gentlemen? 510 for Parker. Yeah, I think if you go right to section 510, that's where you're going to go ahead and see the steps you have to take. But because you've already got a road, you're not naming a road, you're not creating the road, you're just creating the division of the properties right there. It should be relatively straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so
Great
the reason
idea.
I
Thank
asked you what you wanted to do is because the application shows that you just wanted to split it into two, but I see four lots. One parcel
Yeah.
separated into four lots, and that's what you want to do, right?
Okay, so that is what I wanted to do originally. Just for instance, as you can see, the four lots that are actually separated, it looks, well, I guess in other words, the property behind it, I was wanting to continue the lot lines straight across my property was what I was wanting to do. Originally, then I found out that we couldn't do that without going through a pretty big process, but now you're saying the process may not be that big. So
It's
you're
not.
giving
It's
me
a-
the option of today, splitting it and just creating one lot? In other words, one of those? And then
Yeah.
to where I can go ahead and build a house there and then,
What you
take
could
the
do-
process and do the other three?
Yeah, well, this is what we're kind of having the thought before. So you have 1.02 acres of land, and I'm just trying to save you some
Yeah.
money, save you a little bit of.
Yeah, that's great.
So if it were my property,
Yeah.
and again, you do whatever you want to
Yeah.
do, but if it were my property, and it looks like you want to turn them into eventually turn them into 4 quarter acre
Single-family.
lots.
That's correct.
And you're not violating any density rules. You're certainly above the minimum lot size.
Sure.
At 7,500 square feet. I think you're gonna be like 8,800, 8,900 square
Yeah.
feet when you're done. So that meets both the density requirement and it also meets the requirements for minimum lot size. So if it were me and I just wanted to build a single-family home and then move on to the next one, and you've already got a road, and in order to keep it, shy of the subdivision standard,
Right.
which, again, isn't all that big of a deal, other than you gotta name the subdivision, officially do that, et cetera. What you could do, as an option, is let's say you're gonna build on parcel 1, which is the one right up against the 2 homes right here, right? What you could do is you could divide the land right there into 1 quarter acre lot and then 3 quarter acre. And then at some time in the future, when you want to build the next one, slice off another quarter acre and do that.
Okay.
That way, you're only creating 2 lots,
Gotcha.
and you're not having to go through the heartburn, if there is any, of having a subdivision.
I got you. Okay. That's a great idea. No one's ever told me that before. Thank you.
I think we were trying to get
Yeah.
there before, but we were kind of working with it on the fly.
I got you.
And,
Now you've had time to
but
think
you've
about
got
it, so you
you've
gotta
got the
figure it out.
land, so
Awesome.
would you revocalize to the group what you want to do today?
Okay, so that being the case, I would like to split just that one section, one quarter acre, okay? And then leave the other 3/4 of an acre, to be, developed at a later
At a
date.
future date? Okay. Yes, ma'am,
For
please.
clarity, are you looking to parcel 1 or parcel 4? Which end are you?
Let me come look at that if
All
you
right.
don't mind, cause I don't know. Okay, so here's Nicole Drive. So I would say this one right,
Parcel 1?
yeah, is that, the first one.
Okay.
The one, to the right of Nicole Drive, furthest to the right. If you're standing, if you're looking at Nicole Drive, look to the right, that one right there.
Okay. It is
So-
like parcel 1 on there.
Okay.
So it is parcel 1?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
all right, very good. So I'll only ask that you do one thing. When it goes to the council members for clarity, would you redraw that just by showing that that's gonna be a quarter acre split off and then there's gonna be
Sure.
3? That will make it a little greater clarity. It'll be easy for them to do the math and see that you're under the density and the minimum lot size standard.
Okay.
Okay, so,
So I can redo that survey and then bring it back down here to you guys and.
it won't need to come
or
before
no?
us. I think
Okay.
we're gonna vote on it right now.
Okay, I got
And then,
Gotcha.
but when you bring it to the council, they're the governing body.
Okay.
If you'll redraw that, because the application identified that you only wanted to split the
I
lot,
gotcha.
which is okay, because what we're doing is exactly what your application stated.
Right.
Okay? That's why it was a
Just a
little
different
confusing,
line.
I think,
I
to
gotcha.
all of us, because it showed 4 lots, but it
Right.
ended up being sort of serendipitous that it went that way.
Right.
Because that's what you're gonna do in order to, build your home,
Hey,
move on to the next
Maybe
one,
we
et
got
cetera.
what we visualized.
Yeah, exactly. So, John, we're not in violation of any rules here. I mean, we're offering some advice to the gentleman so that he can do it based on the standards required by the city and the state and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're fine,
Appreciate
Mr.
that.
McConnell.
Thank you.
So what I'll ask for is, I want to ask for any questions? Okay, then what I'll ask for is a motion to allow Mr. McConnell to divide his property today to go on to the council for approval, for review and approval, into that parcel number 1. And then with, so he's dividing it only one time with a 1/4 acre lot, which he'll build on, and then 3/4 of an acre lot remaining. And then at some future time, whenever it suits his time frame, he'll probably come back before us and ask for the next one and then the next one.
Sounds great.
So what I'll ask is for a motion relating to a partial split of the parcel 1, and then 2, 3, and 4 would remain one parcel. And then, of course, you have to take care of that with, the property assessor's office
Right.
and Bay County.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, very good. So I'll ask for that motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor that we're going to split the property as parcel number 1, which is approximately a 1/4 acre lot, and then parcels 2, 3, and 4 will remain as another parcel, another lot now within the parcel. So we're only splitting it one time. We'll end up with 2 lots within the parcel.
Do we need to make it for approval with the condition that he updates the drawings?
Yes, I appreciate that. So, and if we could ask you to update your motion, which would essentially say that by the time it gets to council for clarity, that the survey the survey ultimately be updated so that council has a clear understanding of what he's doing today, which would be parcel 1, and 2, 3, and 4 would be.
Okay, I'll make a
Okay,
motion
very
then
good.
that you revise the survey to reflect the 1/4 acre parcel 1 with the remaining 3/4 still intact.
And when will that council, when will it go before the council?
Well, I think we have a meeting as early as next Tuesday. No, not next
We
Tuesday.
do have one, but that one's full. Your
Oh,
next
okay.
available
Yeah.
will be April 1st.
April 1st, there
Okay.
you go.
Does that give you-
Perfect
April
day.
Fool's Day.
So did I get a second on Ann's motion?
I second it.
Okay, very good. Can I get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Merritt?
Yes.
Ms. Powering?
Yes.
And Chairman Riga.
Yes, and thanks for improving the city, Mr.
Hey,
McConnell. We
no
appreciate
worries.
it.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the information. I had no idea.
Now, again, check into that, I mean, if you're probably not done building in your career. Look into the difference between a short plat and a long plat.
Okay.
Short plats get approved usually immediately.
Okay.
And, it kind of helps you out.
All right.
And it's not a big deal. The only real big difference in your case is you'd actually name it as a subdivision, do that through, the Bay County, through Bay County. And, because you're not building roads or anything.
Gotcha.
Then it makes things a lot easier for you.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. Well,
very good.
wonderful. Thank you guys very much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great
We
day.
appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, and let's see here.
Forehand.
So is Mr. Forehand here as well? Mr. Forehand, how are you, sir? Good to see you again. Yeah, Mr. Forehand, same thing. If you don't mind stating your name and where you live, and then giving, because we do have some people listening electronically, if you'll give us a summary of what you're wanting to do, that would be appreciated.
Jerry Forehand. I live in Callaway 1005 South Kimball, 32404. I
Very good.
want to take 2 lots. I own both houses at one time. Last year I sold 4936 East Business 98, and I still own 4932 East Business 98. When I sold 4936, I took a line because of the trailer behind it, and I just joined that line all the way, actually, to Tony's fence on the back. And so that gave me a lot with taking, I think it was 13 feet off of the house I still own. Gave me 53 feet, somewhere around there, 53, 54 feet. And I want to build a single-family home on it.
But your application today is not for the single-family home. It's only to combine the lots, right?
Only to combine, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Forehand?
Yes, sir. What, do you know what the approximate lot size is of each?
Let's see, I think it's gonna be 53 by, I think it's 150.
Let me give you some specifics.
I think they're on paper. See if that's not what it is.
It's a good question, Ann, because it was it's a thing that we're gonna struggle with here today. So one of them is 36 by 150, and it's 0.123 acres. And the other one is 0.055 acres, and it's 16 by 150. And I know why you're asking the question. It's a good question. So, Mr. Forehand, what she's getting at is that there are two rules for, and this is in a single-family, low-density residential area. There's two rules to determine the lot size that can end up. One of them is a little misleading because it says the minimum lot size in a low-density residential area has to be 7,500 square feet. But the other one is the density ruling, and we have to be very careful we don't violate either of those because the state of Florida is saying that you must be true to your districts. And the state of Florida, and because our comprehensive plan and our land development rules identify that you can only put 5 dwellings in a 1 acre parcel of land. If you do the math on that, it's essentially an acre is 43,560 square feet. You do the math on it, it works out to about 87 or 8,800 square feet. So whereas and the reason you could actually be compliant on both of those would be, let's say you ended up with 0.4 acres, okay? You could build 2 homes on 0.4 acres. You could take one of them and make it like 9,500 square feet, and then you'd be left with about 7,500 square feet with the other one, as long as you started with that, and then you could build those 2 homes.
Well, I only wanna build the one.
Yes, sir.
Gives them a bigger backyard.
I'm just giving you a
Yes.
reason for
Thank you.
why we have the density rule and then the minimum lot size rule in terms of why this is outside of that compliance.
Okay.
So what we have is you have 2 smaller parcels of land that when you combine them, you meet the requirement for the minimum lot size, but you do not meet the requirement for the density ruling. And it's not, you're not chipping it off of a larger segment of land and then making one 7,500 and the other one 8,800 or 9,000 square feet. So what we're going to struggle with here today, and no matter what we're an advisory group, no matter what we say, you could still take this to council and ask if they would be willing to do it, but you'd have to file for a variance now. Okay, because it's a variance away from what the land development rules identify in terms of density. And we don't have a request for a variance here today. We just have
I didn't think I needed one.
well, you don't in order to combine the land. You can combine the land, and we can vote to do that today.
Okay.
Where I'm talking about is when you go to the next step, and you've got 0.123 acres combined with 0.055 acres, you're short of the point of the 0.2 acres that you need in order to build a single-family home from a density standpoint. We can say it's okay for you to combine the property, but what you're going to end up with, unless you file for a variance and it gets approved by the governing body, you're going to end up with a property too small to build a single-family home on it. So you could do that and take your chances that the mayor and the governing body will ultimately say it's okay because you meet one standard, but you fall short on the other one. But I'm just telling you that up front.
Okay.
We're not violating any rules by saying to you, you can combine the property. I'm
Right.
just trying to help you downstream.
Right. Well, even if you give me the okay, I know I've still got to go before the commission. And,
But the way this
but I
is,
don't have to do a survey prior to that. See, that's one thing.
No, you would-
It's already been surveyed.
Yeah,
But I haven't been combined.
I think we have a copy of the survey, do we not?
You probably do. Yes.
By my math, sir, I'm getting a .178, so you're pretty close to the .2 that I think Mr. Riga is referring to. And I believe I understood you to say you borrowed from 4932, a little bit of that to get
Right.
what you needed. is there any more that you can borrow since you own that one?
Well,
And without shrinking that property?
I mean, I could
to-
borrow 2 more feet, that's,
That was just my question.
Yeah.
And it would eliminate, I think it would address the issue as long as you haven't left your existing property
Yeah.
too small.
well, I think that puts me about 5 feet from the other house.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because, that's okay, as long as the lot line of the new building is still 7 feet, because that's a side.
Yeah.
She's talking, you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about a side.
Right.
All you gotta do is be 7 feet from that when you build the new house.
Yes.
It's gonna be a long skinny house anyway, because
Yeah.
you've got,
Well, it might be a 28 by, 40, something like that.
yeah, yeah, but that's a good suggestion. So what we could recommend, what we could do, my hitch in the get-along is, in your application, you identified that you wanted to combine them for the purpose of building a single-family home. We can, today, we can say, yeah, it's fine for you to combine the property,
Okay.
but not for the building of the single-family home until that other issue gets solved.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
That's where we're at with
That'll
it.
be
Yeah, and the other thing too is, rather than taking more property from, that was a good suggestion, Ann, by the way. Rather than taking more property from that other one, the other option you've got is to take your chances with, the council members to see if they're willing to allow you to build that home, because there would be a benefit to having another single-family home in the city of
Sure.
Parker. But you wouldn't have to file for a variance and pay the money if you could take her suggestion and make it happen. So as long as you end up with 0.2 acres as opposed to the 0.178, not gonna be a whole lot more, then you're okay. Now, I have to back up. So were you saying that if you move the property line,
I can't move it east
okay,
because I'm on the property line there.
You are.
The house to the west of it is the one I own, 4932.
32, the larger one on the left, that is 87 feet across, I think is what I'm
Yes.
seeing.
now, that's only if you move the whole property line over. You could you could do a cutout there. You only need
022.
0.02, thank you, Ann, could you tell she was a banker? You only need 0.02. You could do a cutout in that backyard, and then you don't have to deal with the issue of it being a variance.
Yeah.
And it'd be a nice place to put a shed back there in that little cutout, and as long as you own the other property, it's not gonna affect
Yeah,
anything.
I can see that. So far as the house itself, I can't, the house will be built right level frontage with the other two. But so far as square feet, I could go over 5 feet, for where the house is, and where it's not too close to the existing houses.
You gotta leave at least 7 feet from the
Yes.
property line to because you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
But, that's what I'm saying, if you look at your picture that you provided us, you could do a cutout, this is your property here, right? This one here,
Yes.
this one here. What I'm suggesting is you do this,
Right.
and yeah, we just
Yeah,
put a
I
nice
got a
little
big
shed
tree I
back
could put
there,
down here.
and that's all you need. I mean, you're only talking about, what's,
0.022.
Well, eventually that's gonna get sold too,
yeah.
you know.
So I think you're only talking 900 square feet, gives them the extra 0.2, right? Yeah,
Okay.
or 0.22, so 900 square feet, so you're talking about an area that's 30 by 30. So, yeah. So you think you could do that?
I'm sure.
I would recommend you do that before you bring it to the council, because that way you don't have to file for a variance.
Okay.
And, because a variance will require, somebody to go out there and put a big old sign in your front yard and say, this is gonna be a variance, and people will come, and if somebody doesn't want it, this way, there's no variances, and you
I
meet
mean,
the
if I had to,
requirements.
I can take 5 feet all the way across that. That's 5 times 87. And make it run completely across the back of that one. I still got plenty on the other one.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no utilities, nothing back there.
Yeah. And again, I hate to be a stickler on this deal, except the state of Florida is very clear these days about municipalities sticking to and being true to their districts. And there's nothing here compelling enough and unique enough for us to say it's okay. But if you're willing to go ahead and carve out a parcel of land so that you end up with the 0.2 acres you need, everybody's happy,
Okay, okay,
okay?
sounds good.
So what we could do today is let you go do that and come back, or we could approve the combining of the properties. But I can't approve it the way it's written for the purpose of building a new house on it. What I could say is, the motion would be, we'd combine the property, but, you know, then Mr. Forehand would.
Well, I can redraw that myself,
All right,
you know,
there you go.
that's not a problem.
Okay, very good. All right. So the motion then would be that before you bring it to council, you'll end up with that 0.2, however you want to divide your property,
Yeah.
you'll end up with the 0.2 acres as opposed to the 0.178, so that you end up with, we don't violate any density
Oh,
rules.
that's fine.
All right, very good. Cool. Well, I'll ask for a motion then. Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Appreciate you working that through with us. I'll ask for a motion. Yes, sir.
That we approve it with the condition that he adds the 0.2 acres as needed to the lot.
Very good. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, very good.
Brilliant.
And you need a moment to finish your notes, or are
I
you
do
okay?
not, I'm good.
Okay,
Mr.
then.
Hall?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Merritt,
Yes.
Ms. Powering,
Yes.
and Chairman Reed.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Forehand.
Thank you.
Thanks for improving the city. We appreciate it. Very good. All right. Ann, anything for the group?
Not that comes to mind.
All right, very good. Ingrid, anything you need to tell us?
I think I'm good.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
So we just went through the whole ethics thing, and we know that that has to be to your desk by the end of the March. You know, for both the ethics as well as the meetings, and there's one other one, the 4 hours. The second one, though, is when are we supposed to fill out Form 1? I know that's an annual thing. Is that July?
I believe it's July.
Okay. Would you do me a favor? Okay. Would you, for our next meeting, could you remind us when that has to be done? Okay, and I know that we normally get that from somebody from Tallahassee. That's a Form 1, not Form 6. The council members have to fill out, well, we're originally under the impression they had to fill out Form 6, which is much more inclusive. This doesn't involve numbers, it just identifies anything you own, you know, for ethics reasons to make sure, okay? John, anything that you want to discuss with the group?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Merritt, how about you?
Good, thank you.
Mr. Hall, how about you?
I'm good. I'll be out for work in April.
In April, okay. So next meeting, okay, very good. I think Terry will be back by then. All right, well, if we're done then, I'll go ahead and shut the meeting down. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.